Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 26th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. It is post Christmas. Hopefully, you had a good holiday, good time, either with your family, your friends, or if it's just maybe by yourself. It's okay to have a bit of a lonely Christmas. It's all good. But yeah, as for me, I'm feeling good. I feel happy. I don't know. I feel like it's not strange, right? I don't know. But like work, I had to go back to work today. That was good. It was busy but slow. That kind of vibe where it was really steady, consistent, but it really wasn't a thing. Like there's just not as many people right now because like people are literally like on vacation and there's just not that many orders. Things are just generally a bit slower right now. So you know how that goes. So yeah, work felt good. It was nice. Let's see here. Was there anything really to report on the day itself? Oh, did get back to the gym today. That was also really good. Felt really good to like hit it. My back's doing better, so we love that. I felt like I was able to hit it a little bit harder. And I think I don't know, I've kind of changed up the routine, at least for now, to be a little bit more accommodating, like to maybe I don't know, not so much what I want, but like I realize maybe like, hey, I don't need to lift if it's going to be sloppy, right? Like I'm going to try to just stick to these machines for maybe a little bit longer and not do so much free weights. I think is where I'm at right now. And, it's kind of staying in that lane. Maybe not, like I said, not maxing out as hard, things of that nature. So like I said, gym's going well, so check there, check work, check gym. But let's rewind back to Christmas. Let's talk about the day. Let's talk about the food. So yeah, I had yet again, as is tradition for me. I had Christmas with my family friends. It was nice. It was a really chill affair, and I came through, and there was a bit of a snafu in terms of like when food was gonna get actually ready. That's a-okay. That's fine with me. Also, it gives me a chance to really talk about the charcuterie board that's usually always there. I usually don't talk about it because I don't usually eat too much of it, or sometimes even at all, because I'm so locked in on getting the dinner. You know what I mean? Like I want to have all my room ready for it. Like I am Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, and I got the like beginning case. I don't have room to mess around right now. My stomach is a different stomach than it used to be. I can't eat it all and then just be like, oh, I can tank this, I can keep eating. Like it literally hurts me. I have to pick and choose my meal. I have to pick and choose what I ingest for the day. You know what I mean? So that being said, I was just really hungry. I hadn't eaten all day, so I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get down with the charcuterie board." So it was some sausage. There was like a slew of cheeses, pickles, some kind of dip that I didn't know what it was. I should have asked what it was. I just started dipping and I didn't ask questions. It was yummy. It was good though. So, and then a bunch of crackers, like three kinds of like crackers. So I was good. I was good with that. But I also had to tell myself, Isaiah, pace yourself here. Just have enough to satiate yourself and wait for the main course. Wait for the dinner. All right. So we did, we hung out, we hung tough, and overall it was a good time. There was a little bit of the game on. What was it? The Vikings versus Seattle Seahawks, talking about football. The old pigskin. I really wasn't paying too much attention, but football was on. Hell yeah, we love that. And then like we also later on like post dinner we like would watch some YouTube stuff. That's definitely become more of the tradition, which I like that. As a millennial, you can definitely sit me down in front of the YouTube and we can just kind of watch that out. I honestly would rather do that than watching like, I don't know, Frosty the Snowman for the 100th time or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Respect the classics. I love them. If you got to put them on for the kids, I'm down to watch, and I will relive that nostalgia. But I'm down to watch some crazy YouTube shit. I think that's cool. So I like that. But the main course, the true food corner, let's get into it. The main meat, it was ham, and we love ham. I'm a ham enjoyer, so I went ham on the ham. We had by my request, special request, the sweet potato casserole because I love that. It is so holidays for me. Like I have to have it for Thanksgiving, and if I can get it for Christmas, let's go. I also feel like I am becoming the sweet potato casserole like equivalent of Johnny Appleseed. Like I spread the word on it, and I read the room, and then maybe I learn something because maybe, hey, maybe you got a little special recipe on your sweet potato casserole. Maybe you do a little different. Maybe you do a little twist on it, because I like it nice and just like the old school. Like you get the sweet potato, maybe put some nuts in, maybe you put, and you definitely know maybes. You got to put the marshmallows on top. That's how I like it. You know what I mean? That's how I prefer it. That's a yummo for me. But I mean, there's so many ways to make it, and I'm open. There was also some not mashed potatoes, potatoes au gratin. I'm sorry, and then mac and cheese. There was also green bean casserole as well. So there was a slew of things. Also some corn. So yeah, we got to eat real good last night. Also, wait, there's more. There were rolls, and then another special request from me. I wanted za'atar bread. I don't know if you know what za'atar bread is. It's easier if you just look it up. Just Google that shit real quick. And it's like this really seasoned. I believe it's got sesame seeds on it too. The way I've described it is like it's bread with a 5 o'clock shadow on it, but it's so good. It's so yummy. It's some of my favorite bread to eat. It's Middle Eastern. I'm not sure exact origin. Don't quote me on that. But we'll just say Middle Eastern. Be vague about it. But it's some of my favorite bread. I love it. And the person who cooks, she just does such a great job. And I'm just always excited to eat that. Let's see. I wanted Christmas cookies. So we got Christmas cookies. I've never had Russian tea cookies before, so I got to have that. And then also just like sugar cookies with icing and M&Ms. So like I was eating like literally like a Christmas tree with M&M ornaments. I was like, oh man, this is Christmas, yo. It was good. It was so great. Then they got me some gifts, so that was super sweet. I'm rocking these in-house loafers right now. This is my first time rocking shoes in the house. It feels different. I like it. It's different, but it's really good when it's cold like it is right now. So another good gift for the winter that they got me the Dragon Ball Z Snuggie hoodie. I ain't never had some shit like that before. I got home, I put that shit on. I want to take it off, y'all. It's so cozy. It's so cozy. It's like going down to my knees. I was like, oh, I get it now. I get how you become a moo girl. I get it. I understand. So that was nice. Gosh, there was like a bunch of candy for the stocking stuffer. Just and a few. Oh, also a little blender bottle because they know I'm working out, y'all. They were just so sweet to me. It's always a good time for the holidays. They really did me right. They always do. And yeah, it was a good Christmas. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. And once again, I really hope that you had an amazing Yuletide yourself. I know it's the start of Hanukkah. I know there was Boxing Day. I know the Kwanzaa. Like there's so many holidays right now. You know what I mean? So I really hope that you are doing well and enjoying yours. I know that now we're in that lame duck period where we're in between the Christmas and the New Year, and it just feels like, I feel like we're all Joe Biden right now. We're all lame ducks. We're just waiting for it to be over. You know what I mean? And we're just going to get into the next year and then see where we're at. So yeah, that's the blog portion of this episode. I know I already went long, and I got to tell y'all, this is probably going to be maybe a bit of a longer episode. I have a lot of news to cover, I guess. So, we're going to try to get through that as good as we can. But let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Oh, you know what? Another thing I forgot to mention too when I was talking about the me gifts I got for myself the other day. Another thing I got, and this is maybe such a simple thing to so many people, but this has really been one of the quality of life increases since I got this new car. Was I finally got an aux cord that I can use for my phone. I had to get like a little Type C one or whatever. It was a little different. We're living in the here and now, the future. But I hadn't had an aux cord in maybe about over 5 years. Yeah, the last car I had, I was able to get a new stereo that had the aux cord set up, so I could do that. You know what I mean? But for the longest time, I've just been running with like headphone in the ear, just chilling, and if I got pulled over, oh, it's a Bluetooth. It's a Bluetooth situation. So yeah, it's been nice, like, to be like, hey, I can get in my car, plug in my phone, and I can just listen to fucking BBC in my car like a normal person. I don't know, for some reason that really has really hit, and I like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about that. I know I should have talked about it the other day, but whatever. We get to things when we get to them. Anyway, let's do the startup. Ooh. Ooh. Let me breathe. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ooh. All right. From Reuters. Gaza medics say Israeli strike kills 5 journalists. Gaza authorities said an Israeli airstrike killed 5 Palestinian journalists in a vehicle outside a hospital on Thursday, but the Israeli army said the victims were Islamic Jihad militants posing as media workers. Medics said the 5 were among at least 31 killed in Israeli air assaults across the Palestinian enclave before dawn, as Hamas and Israel traded blame over delays in reaching a ceasefire deal after more than 14 months of fighting. Ceasefire deal thing, it's been a conversation thing for a bit. I gotta say, truthfully, I haven't covered as much Israel, Gaza, West Bank situation as much as I have been in, overall this year. I kind of been slowed up on it, but obviously there's been other media new stuff getting in the way of that as well. But I heard this story and I was like, I didn't want to lose it. I was like, let's go ahead and catch up as best as we can. But the Palestinian Journalists Union said one strike killed 5 journalists from the Al Quds Today channel who were in a broadcast vehicle in front of Al Awada Hospital in the Al Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza. The union said more than 190 Palestinian journalists have been killed by Israeli fire since the war began in October 2023. Now, Israel will say, hey, we aren't targeting journalists. We aren't targeting civilians. We are targeting terrorists. And these people were masquerading as press. And I think that's bullshit. This is an attack that they've tried time and time again. And I think it's easier to get away with it because they know that you only have Palestinians available to do the journalism. And it's like, yeah, we can just turn them into a target, and it is what it is. Who's gonna say we're wrong? We'll just say they're anti-Semitic. So whatever, who cares? It's very frustrating that this is the narrative, and you see, from Reuters kind of trying to do a bit of the, fair and balanced, balanced journalism, whatever. I get it, I'm not saying they're too out of pocket here, but at the same time, it just feels like, dude, okay, you're just going to say, yeah, well, the Israeli military said it conducted a precise strike on a vehicle with an Islamic Jihad terror cell inside in the area of Nusrat. I mean, this is a press vehicle. It had press on it. There's no way to mistake that. And once again, they know that. And in this situation, they're not playing coy or stupid. They're saying, no, those were Islamic Jihad. So we were in the right to do that. Also, the mentioning of like, well, these people do interview Islamic Jihad, members. It's like, okay, that doesn't make them affiliated or associated with it. They have to do it. That's journalism. Like, you're going to talk to people on both sides. They would talk to people in the IDF if they could, if they didn't get their fucking ship rocked by them on site. Like, it's one of those dudes. It's be for real, bro. Like, what are we doing here? You're doing the ethnic cleansing shit. It's just so face up to me. I think it's so face up to so many motherfucking people. So, I would be remiss to not cover the shit. I think there's another incident too I wanted to cover from this article. Later on Thursday, health officials said 5 medical staff, including a pediatrician, were killed by Israeli fire at the Kamal Adwan Hospital in Bethlehem, in the northern edge of Gaza Strip, where Israeli forces have operated since October. And Israel didn't comment on the medic's death. I guess they didn't have a slick reason. Oh, they were actually Hamas. They were actually, Islamic Jihad, or insert terrorist cell here. Nah, they're mum on that. They can be quiet, I guess. So, I mean, yeah, it's frustrating that this is obviously still a constant motif, and we have this yo-yoing by Israel of this whole ceasefire deal. And you just hear them altering the fucking deal like they're talking to Lando Calrissian, and it's like, nah, I'm changing that shit up. Pray I don't alter it any further. I'm altering the deal. Like, bro, no, like, this is supposed to be an ironclad thing, and then you just, like, Netanyahu will either use the excuse, well, like, oh, the people in my party just don't want this, or he will just come up and just say it. Like, he won't even use the party as a shield, which he doesn't have to. He can just get away with it. It's frustrating that this is overall, when you take the polls and you take the survey and you talk to the Israeli people, this is what they want. Like, so, here we are, in this fucking loop where we keep talking about a potential peace. Oh, maybe it'll come before Trump gets in office. Maybe it'll come like right after. Like, at this point, nobody cares, because whatever the ceasefire is not going to stop anything. At this point, this is what people want. This is like literally the crying uncle or whatever. But like, it's not changing the equation at all. It just puts it back into a certain kind of stasis before we were in October 7th, 2023. Like, it's frustrating, and I know my knowledge and experience on this shit is very limited in terms of what I know, but I've been doing the best I can since obviously before that date, covering the shit, coming to terms with how this all has been going on, and like, and obviously the Western fucking hegemony, dude. I don't know. It's just so fucking frustrating to know that, yes, my taxpayer dollars are a part of this shit. And like, there's no escaping that fact that the country I live in staunchly supports this shit, funds this shit, backs it to the hilt, gives it the fucking sword to do it. Like, it's a frustrating thing to grapple with, and not to know that not only they're spearheading it, but there's other Western countries involved too, and other countries in general that are just like, yeah, no, we're back in the play. It's fine. This is cool. This is supporting us overall. It's fine. We got to keep this shit, the status quo, in line type fucking bullshit, man. It's sad. But that being said, I know there's always more to cover, and I'm gonna try to do my best to keep us posted. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Syria. I know we've been talking about that a lot more as of late, but for good reason, makes sense. From CNN, at least 14 security personnel killed in ambush by former Assad forces, new Syrian authorities say. At least 14 law enforcement personnel were killed in western Syria overnight in an ambush by the former forces of deposed leader Bashar al-Assad, the Interior Ministry said on Thursday, and an indication of challenges for the country's new government. The attack in the countryside of the Tartus region also injured 10 officers, according to the ministry. It came hours after the new government's military operations command said its forces killed a besieged group of remnants of the former regime in the same area. The ambush is the first known large attack by Assad loyalists since his ouster less than 3 weeks ago, and adds to the test for Syria's new ruling administration, including protests by religious minorities concerned over their rights under an Islamic rule and a new Israeli occupation of Syrian territory in the south. The new authorities have set a deadline for former regime forces and gangs to hand over their weapons, less than 3 weeks after Assad fled the country as rebels advanced on the capital of Damascus. I believe that, overall, they've issued this kind of proclamation where it's like, hey, lay down your arms. You can join us, if I'm not mistaken, and essentially say, hey, you'll be cool. We'll take you in. You become a part of our forces. You become part of the new government's forces. But naturally, that's not, I guess, been a super smooth transition, or at least we're now seeing hiccups of that. There's also implications, and I've heard it just in terms of like listening to other news and stuff like that, where you have these either splinter groups, or you have this is the actual rebel forces that did make this move and the push, and now they are in power. They do have these more, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, not, I mean, I guess you could say extreme, but like they're just more polarized, and it's like, no, like we are making changes, like we are doing some oppression here, there's a new like rule in town, we're doing it this way. And but then you like have like reports of like people saying, hey, we're making this known, this happened, like people just try to kind of shake us down, try to like flex on us about wearing a hijab, what have you. And you hear from leadership, oh, okay, that's not okay, we're going to go and crack down on that, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. But that being said, more reports of this shit happening, especially with minorities in the country, is sparking more protests and things of that nature. So that's becoming an issue that is going on. Sorry, let me see. I'm trying to find my pace here. Syria's military operations command said additional forces have been deployed to establish security and hold accountable the remnants of the former regime who are trying to destabilize security and terrorize people in some areas of the Syrian coast. We will not tolerate any criminal gang that seeks to undermine the security and safety of our people. The director of public security in Latakia, a Western governorate on the country's Mediterranean coast, told state-run news agency Sana on Wednesday. Let me go ahead and scroll ahead. Here we go. I think this is the thing I was trying to get to. The demonstrations took place about the same time as a video began circulating on social media that purports to show the desecration of a site in Aleppo that part of the Alawite community claims is a shrine. And that's like part of the minority that was in power, because that's from where like Bashar al-Assad was from. And shit went down, from that. But now there's, fear of reprisals now that Bashar al-Assad is gone. And this is one of those things that kind of came up. Now, the new Interior Ministry issued a statement acknowledging the incident, but said it occurred weeks ago and that the perpetrators are unknown. And it's like, yeah, dog, but weeks ago, this is the start of your big push. So like, it doesn't necessarily disassociate you from this. It doesn't, it doesn't say, oh, that wasn't us, we didn't do that. It's like, well, no, that doesn't line up. It could have easily been y'all or someone in your guys' group. So like, that's where some of this unease is coming from. And they're saying, hey, that wasn't us. We don't know who that was. And even if it was, we would make sure that doesn't happen. That's old news. That's really what they're trying to portray here and show. But that obviously remains a question mark to a lot of people, especially with, just things popping up here and there, But like I said, I'm trying to do my best to, keep everyone apprised, at least my dear listeners who tune in. I do appreciate y'all. But yeah, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to pull here real quick. Nope. Looks like we made it to the bottom. We did it my way. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Sadly, more atrocities, more bad shit. It's just one of those episodes. Hey, that's why we got to talk about Cremas, to talk about gifts and love, and now it's dead bodies everywhere. That sometimes is how it goes on the pod. From Reuters, at least 10 killed after Nigerian military jet targeting bandits bomb civilians. So that's. The military, oh no, I scrolled too far ahead. At least 10 people were killed and several wounded when a Nigerian military fighter jet pursuing bandits in 2 villages mistakenly bombed civilians in the northwestern state of Sokoto on Wednesday, the state governor Ahmed Aliyu said. The military jets were on their mission to eliminate criminal armed groups terrorizing the state and mistakenly bombed innocent people of this community, Aliyu said in a statement. Aliyu added that the state will collaborate with other authorities to investigate the military operation that killed people in villages of Gidan Sama and Rintua in the Suriname local government area. The military late on Wednesday said it had struck targets in the vicinity of Gidan Sama and Rumtua identified as associated with the Lakura group, but did not provide any details on civilians affected. So, aka, they kind of did the same thing that you hear out of, like, the nation state of Israel, where you go, oh, yeah, nah, we were just conducting operations. We hit our targets. Like, and they were definitely the bad guys. Anyway, moving on. And it's like, that's not adding up here. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, this is a fucked up act. And it's like, well, we had good intentions. At the end of the day, these, insurgents, these are bad guys. Like, they're bandits, whatever. Like, these people don't, we were going to target them, and that's the point. Like, as if it's on them. And it's like, no, you made a mistake in your operation, and people, it seems like innocent people just died. Like, that's always gonna be something that never squares with me, right? Like, at the end of the day, that's violence. That's for what? Like, you didn't make things safer for people. You took your people's lives away. So that seems like a bad thing. Seems like a fucking problem. So yeah, it is one of those things where it's definitely like, damn, I want to cover that when that happens. There's widespread insecurity in northwest Nigeria, while a 15-year Islamist insurgency has plagued the northeast of the country, and gang and separatist violence affects the southeast. So yeah, anything else that pops out of Nigeria, or obviously wherever, I'm gonna be there to try to talk about it. Do my best. But yeah, let's move on to a recall. Let's move on to some fucking bird flu, which is crazy because we gotta talk shop. It's the end of the year, and we gotta talk diseases. Potential, like, I don't even know, maybe pandemic runners. Who knows? Line up for a future pandemic, I should say. Who knows? From the Hill. Pet food recalled after cat death linked to bird flu contamination. Uh-oh. The Oregon Department of Agriculture, or the ODA, alerted cat owners to throw out a brand of frozen food after it tested positive for bird flu. One house cat has already died due to the contamination. RIP. We are confident that this cat contracted H5N1 by eating the Northwest Naturals raw and frozen pet food. Sometimes you shouldn't fuck with the natural sometimes. It's very tempting, and you just think, hey, this is textbook, and the next thing you know is you got the bird flu. All right, I'm fucked up. Anyway, that was from Ryan Schultz, ODA state veterinarian. That's what he said in a statement. This cat was strictly an indoor cat. It was not exposed to the virus in its environment, and results from the genome sequencing confirmed that the virus recovered from the raw pet food and infected cat were exact matches to each other. So, we are very certain that it came from this product. And so that's unfortunate. It's a 2-pound turkey recipe, raw and frozen pet food. So yeah, it was recalled on Tuesday. So you know how that goes. If you got that shit, throw that shit out. If you got any questions, I don't know, Google Northwest Naturals. And definitely don't go to any weird hub. All right, no. But if you have any questions, I'm not the one to ask. I'm not a fucking expert. But yeah, this is unfortunate. Obviously, cats are getting the bird flu and croaking. That's no good. Obviously, that's more spreading of the bird flu. We've been talking about that a lot recently, which is leading me to what I was saying up at the top. Is I think we have our number one and number two. It's just a question of what's what. And I wish I could have done the count before we got on. But who knows? I mean, that would require a lot more research than I'm hip to doing. So I don't know. But I feel like vibe check wise, it was either listeria or bird flu. Unless, obviously we got, I don't know, less than a week, right? Before the end of the year. But bird flu is trying to make some numbers, I see. You know what I mean? But I think listeria still has it beat, right? I think maybe, I don't, not to be too morbid, but I don't know. I feel like the body count for the year, and then, I don't know, people who get said thing, I don't know. Because we're talking people, right? Not so much the animals. Animals, there's definitely a lot of animals been getting the bird flu, and that's not good. That means that's spreading around. But there have been humans who've been getting it, and we've been talking about it a lot on the pod, So if I were to say, once again, I'm just vibing this. I didn't do any of the number work. I should have. Once again, a dear listener, if they want to, a real science guy or gal, MB, whatever, You can crunch the numbers for me. I think it was Listeria. I think Listeria wins. I think they came out ahead by a freckle or a hair, a chew. You don't sneeze with Listeria, I'm pretty sure, but whatever. We're just a little bit ahead. I think that would be my guess. That would be my ruling, my judgment. As a newsy supreme. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you're staying healthy out there. Okay, stay safe. Like I said, you hear these recalls, you listen to them, chuck that shit, get rid of it. You know what I mean? Don't think twice on that shit. But anyway, the last two stories are, serious for sure, but I don't know, maybe a little bit less than the first two, at least the first three. Like I said, this is a packed episode. I gotta take a water break. I'm a bit parched. All right. Whew. Okay. From WLBT3. MDOC captures escaped inmate in South Mississippi. An escaped inmate serving life for murder in Rankin County was captured Wednesday. According to an alert sent out by the Greene County Emergency Management Office, 33-year-old Drew Johnson escaped from the South Mississippi Correctional Institution around 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Mississippi Department of Corrections announced that Johnson had been captured on Wednesday near the area of SMCI. Johnson was sentenced to life in prison for murder in Rankin County on February 14th. So this is a pretty short, sweet story. Not too much details. I had heard about that at the middle of Christmas Day, and I was like, "Ooh, that's an interesting story." And then he had gotten captured, and I was like, "Okay, well, we'll go ahead and just cover the quick up and down of it all." I was hoping to find an article with more details. I really didn't though. So here we are. But that being said, that's someone getting locked up in jail, and we're about to cover another story of someone getting out of jail the clean way. All right. Not even the Shawshank Redemption kind of clean. Okay. Anyway, let me take my last break and we will close it out. Oh no. I'm so sorry. That's bad audio. Oh my. Sometimes it's a fight. Oh yeah. Okay. From the Independent. Oh. Missouri's longest serving female prisoner serving life for murdering her husband is released. A woman who spent 40 years behind bars for her husband's 1984 murder has been released from prison just in time to spend Christmas with her family. Patty Prewitt, the longest serving female prisoner in Missouri, shout out to Missouri, was among the 9 people whose sentences were commuted by Missouri Governor Mike Parson on Friday, which, alluding back to the previous episode, yes, Isaiah is a dummy, and sometimes he forgets or doesn't remember or is dumb and just didn't know that, state is state, federal is federal. The governors in their state can, commute and pardon, do their thing. Biden can't interfere with that. Vice versa, learning experience. Anyway, I don't know why I felt like bringing it up, but I did. I'm so grateful to be home with my family for Christmas, she said in a statement following her release. Thank you to Governor Mike Parson and to all the people who have supported me over the years. Prewitt, who is now 75-year-old grandmother, had been serving a life sentence for the February 18th, 1984 murder of her husband, William Bill Edward Prewitt, as he slept in their home in the rural Missouri town of Holden, Missouri. I was not from around there. Anyway, the murder shocked the small community who knew the pair as an all-American couple, according to previous reporting by the Kansas City Star. Prewitt claimed an intruder broke into their home and attacked them while they were sleeping. She and her husband, who was 35, was shot, and she was attacked with a knife. But at the time, investigators said there was no sign of forced entry and turned their attention to Prewitt as a suspect. The murder weapon was found in a pond on the couple's property, and investigators believed a boot print in the pond bed matched boots belonging to Patty Prewitt. So it's like, the trail's going to you. At the trial, prosecutors claimed that Prewitt tried to dispose of the gun by throwing it into the pond, but when it got stuck, she waded into the water and pushed it down with her boot. Prewitt declined a plea deal that would have given her the chance for parole after 5 to 7 years. Instead, she was sentenced to life in prison and became the state's longest-serving female prisoner. The mother of 5 has maintained her innocence for years, while lawyers and advocates have criticized the case and blamed an inadequate investigation and flawed trial for her imprisonment. Prewitt filed multiple clemency requests over the years with support from her family, including their 5 children, who claimed she was wrongfully convicted and fiercely advocated for her release. A website advocating for her clemency claimed investigators ignored credible leads pointing to an intruder and failed to collect key evidence that could have identified a person who Prewitt says assaulted her and murdered her husband. Prewitt was freed on Friday, the Associated Press reported, and is enjoying the holiday with her family, according to posts on social media. The commuted sentence for Prewitt does not pardon her of the murder conviction, but grants her release on parole, it was reported. Her case was among 9 commutations and also 16 pardons by the governor Friday, including Eric D. Volkenair, I'm going to say that's what it was, the former Kansas City police detective convicted in 2023 of involuntary manslaughter in the fatal shooting of Cameron Lamb, a black man, in December of 2019. So awesome. I'm glad. I guess there's balance there. But to focus more on the Prewitt part, I don't know. I don't have any, download on this outside of the article. I didn't do any kind of deep dive. I didn't really, I didn't get it in a podcast, as I love to say. I can understand, especially because we know how cops work. We know how a true crime situation really likes to unfold here, where they go for the least or like the most likely idea. Like the most likely theory, right? And they're going to bite onto that doggedly and say, yeah, that's what it is. And if a prosecutor goes, okay, yeah, I hear you. You're cooking. This is the kitchen. I see the recipe. I'm tasting it. We can work with this. We can get a slam dunk with this. And they run that case. Like, and it works. Like, yeah, she's like, no, I didn't do it. Like, there's so much evidence pointing to the contrary. Like, I'm telling you what happened. And they're like, nah. And they run it. And it's like, yeah, you could have took a plea deal that you potentially get parole, and under 10. So that's like pretty good deal, right? But I understand if you're saying, hey, no, I didn't do it. My husband was murdered. I was assaulted. It's like, hey, no, I want to fight this. But then you lose. And now you're in there for life. But, I think a younger me, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more back, I don't know, could say, that's justice, right? That's just kind of how it is, right? And I would have maybe just said, well, you should just, it's the sentence. It's what the people, they ruled, right? That's how the cookie crumbles. But I definitely feel like I've learned more now. And I feel like definitely when you can get a person out of jail sooner, like that's good. I mean, generally putting a person in jail for like, I don't know, X amount of time generally is going to prove the point. I don't know. Because at the end of the day, that's why recidivism is so high. You're eventually just thrown out into the fucking cycle. It's not like you want to go back to that shit. But at the end of the day, you're just stuck in the fucking loop. That's a whole other fucking thing. So, 40 years seems fine, seems adequate. But once again, you get the sour taste in your mouth of, Eric D. Vulcanary, so he gets to get out on the same kind of thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, awesome. I'm glad he's back out. I mean, obviously, good. He's not going to be a police detective anymore or anything like that. But, this is where you go back and I when we talk about any of these kind of situations, you're reminded of like, yeah, do you think about the families in these situations? Do you think about the public and society, how they're going to feel about it? Or do you just make this decision on saying, hey, I'm going to choose to be quote unquote humane in the moment and do the right thing, I think, as the governor or the president or whatever. So it's one of those where it made me, I guess it makes me wonder. I guess it makes me think, but I do still stand by that. I think burying people alive and then farming them like, let's just say it like slaves, like, hey, you're going to be an indentured servant and we're using that very lightly. You're getting shekels pretty much to live and you can enjoy your commissary. Like we're literally doing that. You have people doing firefighter gigs. You have people doing like McDonald's work, but it's like, you're supposed to just be doing your fucking time, right? Like, what part of this is, a part of, rehabilitation? And it's like, where is that? I don't know. And we wonder why people are like, especially when you look at the conditions in a lot of these prisons. So, I get it. I like people getting out. I know. Call me a crazy liberal. I don't know. It sucks. But yeah, I guess that's where we'll leave it. I know. I said this was a long one and I was right. But hey, that's so it goes. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening, me flopping around like a fish. But yeah, I enjoy it. I hope you did as well. But yeah, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today. I did check out. Also, I need to, show them some love, appreciation. I appreciate my free newsies. You do matter. You do count. I notice you. I see you. I love that. But I do the shout outs just for the paid. That's just the thing, But that's no biggie. You don't have to. I appreciate all the support because I know all of y'all. I see y'all. This isn't even parasocial. I just know you. You're a family. So, just letting you know. But free ways to hit me up though. Actually, you can hit me up though on the Patreon. That's like a little hack. You can just like say hi there if you want to. But yeah, all those people will literally have my number. You don't have to do that. I'm being weird. But yes. Free ways to hit me up at zanews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. I'm like there. I'm just chilling. Subscribe to the YouTube. That's free. That's another way to help out the effort. You know what I mean? We love to see that. We love a subscriber. We love a liker for the episode. We love the episode likers. And cool commenters. You're really appreciated. I don't appreciate the dislikers. But hey, you exist, and I guess you exist for the algorithm, perhaps the upside down, but I do see you. I notice you, but, what's up with that? You could literally hit me up in the DMs and say what you don't like, and I would be like, okay, all right, that's cool. I'm gonna hold that. I can do that. We could have that. You don't have to just anonymously dislike, but I mean, you can. That is a choice, and it's free action. And I appreciate you for at least listening to have an opinion that is negative. That's kind of dope too. I realize that in the world of it all, in the scheme of all this, in this little thing I call a blog, podcast, I appreciate that. So yeah. You matter too. You're noticed. Anyway. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.